In today's video, I'm gonna show you one way that I save money and time in the kitchen, at the same time making quick and easy meals that are also healthy. One of the big themes in my videos lately has been food dehydrating, and there's a good reason for that, because it's a great way to reduce food waste, save money on food, and also make things accessible in a way that they aren't usually when they're fresh, and also give yourself convenience in the future, which is something that we're gonna focus on today. There's gonna be a lot of tips and I guess tricks that I will give throughout the video as I'm going through the process of this, because I realize that when someone comes across a video saying to dehydrate something, maybe you don't have a dehydrator or you've never done it before and things like that. So I'm gonna tell you practical ways to incorporate it so it's not like another thing that you're doing that's adding more time, but actually can seamlessly kind of be incorporated into your daily routine and not really take you that much longer, but give you this help for future you. Today I'm going to be dehydrating mirepoix, and I think I pronounced that correctly. I'll put the spelling on the screen. It's a combination of onions, celery, and carrots, a ratio of 2 onion, 1 celery, 1 carrot. And this is a great base that can help start so many meals, not just soups and stews, but things like shepherd's pie, cottage pie, lots of different things. It can be ground up and used as a flavoring. There's just so many possibilities. And again, as I go through, I'm gonna tell you why I chose these, because there's really specific uses that I have in mind that I wanna do this. I'm a firm believer that when you preserve food, whether it's canning or otherwise, that you really should have the end use in mind and don't just can something or dehydrate something just for the sake of dehydrating it and because it was on sale or because you can or whatever it might be. You really should think about end use. Otherwise, at least in my experience, what has happened with me is that unfortunately, it does result in an amount of food waste that I am not comfortable with. So I want something that we are actually going to use and is going to be a good resource. So we will get to the actual preparation of the vegetables, but first I just want to say that one of the easiest ways to do a dehydrating project is to incorporate it into your daily routine. So for example, tonight I am making a soup that uses those exact ingredients. And so I'm just going to chop extra, and that is when I'm going to get them in my dehydrator. I'm not going out for special ingredients, and I'm not having to carve out special project time, aside of the recording part of this, of course. But other than that, we're just gonna get it going and just let it sit. I understand that a big barrier to wanting to do something, even if it can help you in the future, is if it takes too much time or is too much of an inconvenience or disruption in your normal schedule. But I swear this type of project is perfect for just adding a little bit, hardly noticeable, and then you get it going and it's pretty much hands off from there. One of the big things that I come across probably more frequently than anything is that when I am under the weather and I don't want to cook, I wish I had more convenience things that were homemade. And so this is partly for that, but also for anyone to be able to grab these ingredients and throw together a quick lunch. It can be a great start for a lot of that stuff, and I'll give you some ideas for that as we go on. This is the type of dehydrating that is low cost. It gives great results, and what you get as a result is really versatile. And I know there's a big intro and lots of talking, but there's a lot to say with this. If I were to just show you how I do this thing, you may think, well, what would I use that for? Or what about this? Or what about that? If you have any questions about this or hesitations, throw them in the comments, or if I can help in any way, do that, because I'll read and respond and hopefully make it easier or answer any questions that you might have. So the first step in dehydrating vegetables is to prepare the vegetables themselves. So I went ahead and I peeled my carrots. I'm gonna chop those things off in a little bit. I've got my celery prepped. I don't have my onions peeled, but I'm gonna start with the carrots because I actually have the fewest number of carrots today. So whatever I have in the amount of carrots, I will do equal parts celery, and then I'll do double for the onion. I do have my water already on the stove ready to go, and I'm doing something new with it today that I will show you in a little bit, but I think it's gonna make the process a lot easier than what I've done in the past. When I cut these vegetables, I personally am gonna cut them really small for a couple of reasons. Number one, I want them to blanch super fast. I'm just gonna blanch them for 30 seconds. I want them to dry quickly and also rehydrate quickly. So cutting them small will work with all of that. I have seen some people go ahead and put it right through their food processor. As you can see, there's some variation in the size, but for the most part, it's within the same general range. But some people go ahead and put it right through their food processor, and as long as it doesn't get too small, it would probably be fine as well. I'm gonna go ahead and blanch these vegetables today as well. I know some people maybe don't. Some things rehydrate better. It just depends on the vegetable, what your intended use is for it. There's a lot of factors that go into whether you want to blanch it or not. And it is an extra step too. If you're short on time, you certainly wouldn't have to. But because I have the time today, I'm going to just go ahead and throw them in. And again, I'm just gonna do them really quick. It's gonna be about 30 seconds each, and then we'll be done. This is about 2.5 cups, almost 3. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this up the same amount with the celery. I want pretty small pieces of celery, so I'm cutting each stalk into at least thirds. This one will probably get cut into fourths, but I'm gonna go ahead and get these sliced up from here. Again, about the same thickness as the carrots is what we're gonna do. Okay, I just finished chopping up the celery, and is it weird that I had this realization that new carpeting kind of smells like celery? I don't know why I thought that this morning, but anyway, all that celery was about the same amount as the carrot, so that was a great estimation that I had. Also, I'm gonna link a video where I dehydrated celery and made a celery powder because it makes a phenomenal seasoning for almost anything you're cooking. And just this concentrated celery flavor is so delicious. So I'm gonna link that in case you wanna check it out. Originally, I was thinking I was gonna keep all this stuff separate, but I think I'm gonna put it all together. I'm just gonna choose to blanch it for the same amount of time. And then when I put it in the dehydrator, I'm just gonna evenly distribute it. I'm going to use this as a 3-part ingredient. So the whole point of me doing this is to have them all mixed together anyway. So I'm just gonna go ahead and not fuss with that during the process. Otherwise, that's just more that I have to do. It's more dishes and all that kind of stuff. So we're just gonna go all together. I'm gonna go ahead and get our onions cleaned up. This is what I've done for my blanching. It's basically like a double boiler, or however. I just have this colander with handles sticking out so that I won't have to touch, get hurt trying to get it out. A full pot of water. The only problem is that it doesn't sit in very deeply. So we'll see how this goes, but I'm hoping that I can just put enough vegetables in there to do a quick blanch and just do it in batches, and then it'll go pretty quick. So I've turned this up. As soon as this is at a rolling boil, I will start putting batches in. We just got boiling. I have a bowl of cold water, like very, very, very cold water, and then a second bowl of ice water. So I'm actually gonna do boiling to the cold to the ice, and we'll see how that goes. If I were going to be doing these separately and not necessarily to be the same ingredient in what I'm making, I would definitely make sure to do like maybe the carrots first and then wait and do the onions last, just so that the flavor didn't carry over, in case I didn't want that in any of my other ingredients. The other great thing with working in smaller batches like this is that it comes up to a boil so quickly, or maybe doesn't even stop boiling. Whereas if you're adding larger quantities, it's going to take longer to get up to boil. And when it gets to the boil, that's when you really want to start your blanching timer. Now now that our vegetables are done with the blanching process, and again, that is not something that is totally required. For time saving and making it super easy and convenient to be able to do it, again, like I was saying at the beginning, like you're doing other kitchen things, just skip that step. If that's easier, skip it. Now, I have these silicone mats that I put on trays when I have small things so they don't fall through. I use one on every tray. I have 6 trays in my food dehydrator, so I'm just going to go ahead and load these up. Spread them out nice and evenly. That'll make them dry quicker. Once I get all 6 of my trays filled, I will just make sure that they're about equal. If one has more or one just is hardly full at all, I'll go ahead and pull some off all the other trays. That's the most even and shortest dry, because if one tray is really full and another has hardly anything on it, it's going to take longer. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these trays loaded. So I actually dehydrate my things in the basement, but I like to load them upstairs. It's just easier that way. And then this stays out of my super small kitchen. I actually did change a couple rows because the top and the bottom just dry ever so slightly quicker. And so there was just a couple that varied just a little bit. So I tried to even that out. And if you have a dehydrator, you probably know the ins and outs of your machine as well. We're going to go 125 degrees. Hopefully that's warm enough. And then for the time, I'm going to put it on like a pretty large amount of time. I'll go 19 hours. I'm sure it'll be dry tomorrow morning. But the thing is with something like this, with what we're doing, you can't really dehydrate it too long. With some things that you want to actually be pliable, like maybe dried fruit and stuff like that, you don't want to just like dehydrate it like crazy. But for this, it can just go as long as we need it to go or longer, and you can't dehydrate it too much. So I'm gonna have it go for that amount of time. I'm gonna check it tomorrow morning and we'll see where it's at. I'm sure it's going to be done. This is the finished product. This is after, well, when my dehydrator went off, was done. It was done. So I don't actually know how long it took, but that's okay because I didn't need to closely monitor it like I said. Now, this is a pint jar and I put all of just everything mixed together right in here because as we talked about, I'm going to use this as a single ingredient. Now look at how small these got. I was doing the math in my head. That jar that I was doing was about 3 cups each, and we filled it 4 times. So that's 12 cups of vegetables condensed down into 2 cups. That is incredible. I am always just so amazed at how tiny things get. I mean, look at how small the celery got. I mean, there's so much liquid in celery, which is why that shrunk up the most. But it's just incredible. And it's hard to maybe see size, but like, there's my hand. Like, this is crazy. This is so tiny. So it always surprises me how small and light this stuff gets. This is like basically nothing. It's like as light as air. So I am just so excited to have this. That's going to be quite a few meals for us. That might be, well, at least 4, as many as 6, depending on what I'm doing. So there you have it. In the next video, we're going to try dehydrating frozen vegetables and see how that goes. The last thing I do when I dehydrate is I make an airtight environment. And I do that by using a vacuum sealer, which if you dehydrate, I'm sure you have one. If you're looking to start dehydrating, I highly recommend getting one. It's just this little thing that connects right up to the jar and you start it. This goes for 40 seconds and it charges with a USB, which is great. After the jar is vacuum sealed, it's ready to be stored, used whenever we need it. I hope this video showed how versatile it can be to dehydrate and that it's actually not too much work. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. And then we have these super lightweight and compact ways of storing things. This is so lightweight that it's easy to take if you needed to go somewhere or make some meal for on the road or something like that as well.